Something happened in Toronto that left every Celtics fan stunned. A night that was supposed to showcase Boston's depth and power ended in chaos, heartbreak, and a lesson that could define this team's future. The final score read 107-105, Raptors win, but the story behind those numbers is far deeper. What went wrong in the last seconds? And why could this loss actually hide the key to Boston's evolution? Before we dive into this shocking twist, make sure to drop your like, subscribe, and hit that hype button because what we're about to uncover might completely change the way you see this Celtics preseason. The Celtics entered Scotiabank Arena with confidence, the type of confidence built from dominance and rhythm. They were faster, sharper, and seemed ready to bury Toronto early. Even without Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Sam Hauser, the energy was there. Peyton Pritchard led the charge, Chris Boucher looked rejuvenated against his former team, and Joe Mazzulla's system appeared unstoppable. But then something changed. The run-and-gun machine that looked so synchronized began to crack. Passes grew slower, decisions tighter, and from the bench came an eerie silence. You could feel it through the screen, that subtle shift that turns control into chaos. Boston had been up by 21 points, but what nobody expected was that Toronto's third stringers, hungry and fearless, would rise from nowhere to steal the night. But here's the thing, this wasn't just a random preseason collapse. It was a glimpse into how deep the Celtics structure can be tested. Can this team maintain its identity when the stars sit out? Can the next men up execute under pressure? These are questions Mazzulla will have to answer fast. Throughout the game, there were flashes of brilliance. Pritchard slicing through defenders, Boucher reminding everyone why he was once a fan favorite in Toronto, and Minot showing a defensive instinct that screamed potential. Yet behind those highlights was a haunting number, 29 turnovers. 29 wasted chances, 29 reminders that discipline still separates champions from contenders. But here's where the story turns fascinating. Despite the loss, there's a silver lining that few noticed. The Celtics' young core showed a fearless attitude. They attacked the paint, they adjusted defensively, and even when Toronto started closing in, there was no panic in their body language. You could sense that Mazzulla was using this game not to win, but to measure who could survive pressure when everything starts falling apart. And when it did, he found answers. Luka Garza fought for every rebound like his contract depended on it. Baylor Shireman directed traffic like a veteran, and even Hugo Gonzalez, despite his struggles, showed flashes of defensive IQ that few rookies possess. Still, the ending was brutal. The Raptors' Chucky Hepburn hit a dagger three-pointer, and in the blink of an eye, the arena exploded. For seconds left, tied game. Then came the final blow, a layup by Toronto's Mohamed Agay, sealing the 107-105 win. Silence. You could almost hear the disbelief echoing in the Celtics locker room. But maybe, just maybe, this is exactly what Boston needed. A reminder that even the most talented roster can't rely on momentum alone. That preseason losses can build the hunger necessary for an 82-game war. Because in that silence after the buzzer, you could see it, the determination. Mazzulla didn't flinch. He didn't look angry. He looked analytical. This wasn't failure. It was data. So ask yourself this. What happens when a championship-caliber team learns its weaknesses before the real battle begins? Could this stumble in Toronto become the spark that ignites their season? History shows that the greatest Celtics teams were forged through chaos, and maybe this was one of those nights. As Boston heads back to TD Garden to face the Cleveland Cavaliers, the question remains, will they transform this pain into power? The preseason scoreboard might not matter in October, but the lessons from this loss could echo in June. And maybe, just maybe, that loss in Toronto was the spark that lit something far greater. Because from that moment, something shifted in the energy around Boston. The preseason defeat wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a reminder of what this group is capable of overcoming. Every championship team is tested before it rises, and the Celtics seem ready to write another unexpected chapter in their legacy. Now, the basketball world is asking the question nobody saw coming. Could the Celtics actually exceed expectations this season? The idea sounds bold, especially after losing Jayson Tatum to that Achilles injury, but here's where the story turns fascinating. According to Zach Harper from The Athletic, Boston is being underestimated by almost everyone. His words were clear. I think this team is way better than most assume. And when a national writer says that about a team that just lifted the trophy a year ago, it means there's something deeper happening behind the scenes. What nobody expected was how quickly this team adapted to adversity. Jaylen Brown, entering his 9th NBA season, has evolved from co-star to commander. He's not just scoring 19 points per game, he's dictating the rhythm, setting the tone, and becoming the emotional compass of the locker room. But it's not just about Brown. It's about a culture that doesn't collapse when the spotlight fades. Derek White, one of the best two-way guards in the league, has stepped into the role of silent leader, balancing defense and creation with precision. And then there's Peyton Pritchard, last season's 6th Man of the Year, who now carries the same swagger and composure that once defined veterans like Marcus Smart and Terry Rozier before him. But here's what makes this season different. For the first time in years, the Celtics are not the hunted. They're being overlooked, questioned, even doubted. That's when Boston is most dangerous. Because when expectations drop, freedom rises. Players play looser, the ball moves faster, and Joe Mazzulla's unpredictable system becomes a nightmare for opposing coaches. What if this version of the Celtics, the one nobody is fearing right now, becomes the one that everyone fears by March? And then comes the question that fuels every discussion in Boston. What happens when Tatum returns? What if he comes back stronger, fresher, more focused than ever? Imagine Brown thriving as the lead scorer, White orchestrating the offense, and Tatum stepping back into a team already humming at full speed. That's not just a comeback, that's a storm waiting to explode. The Celtics have always thrived in chaos. From heartbreaks in the Garden to banners in the rafters, their story has never been about perfection, but persistence. This new chapter might start with uncertainty, but it's painted with potential. The league can doubt them, analysts can predict early exits, but Boston knows how to turn silence into momentum. As the season approaches, one thing becomes clear. This isn't a team in decline, it's a team in disguise. And while the world waits for them to fall, the Celtics might just be preparing their next great rise. Because if history has taught us anything, it's this. When Boston is doubted, Boston is dangerous. And that is where the true story begins. Because while the league debates injuries, lineups, and preseason records, something entirely different is happening behind the closed doors of the Celtics locker room. A quiet transformation. A chemistry being built in a way few teams in the NBA dare to attempt. And at the heart of it stands a surprising figure, one who might hold the secret to Boston's next great run. His name is Luka Garza. When Garza signed his 2-year, $5,500,000 contract in July, few outside Boston noticed. He wasn't a blockbuster move or a headline-making superstar. But inside the Celtics facility, his arrival meant something deeper. He became a symbol of what Joe Mazzulla is building, a culture that values connection as much as competition. And what happened next caught everyone off guard. Garza revealed that life as a Celtic is unlike anything he has experienced in the league. After stints in Detroit and Minnesota, where locker rooms often felt fragmented, Boston struck him as something entirely different. Every player, from starters to rookies, was invested. Every voice mattered. According to him, Mazzulla has made bonding not an afterthought, but a strategy.
Definitely. I mean, I think Joe has it's very intentional for him to make sure that we have those kind of situations so we can bond. I think it really helps when you have a group of great guys. These guys are all really, welcoming and nice people, and it's different. Different place in the league. Some guys aren't as welcoming or won't be as good at, kind of welcoming you into the culture and the team. But, here it's been awesome. All these guys are really cool. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of team dinner, team events, things like that kind of make sure that we kind of integrate and get closer.
Is there like a social...
Team dinners, film sessions that go beyond basketball, and small rituals designed to turn teammates into family. It's very intentional, Garza said, his words carrying weight not for what they said, but for what they implied. There is a purpose behind the warmth. A plan behind the brotherhood. But why is this so crucial now? Because Boston isn't just preparing for another season. They are constructing a new identity from the inside out. The departure of veterans during the offseason didn't weaken this team. It opened space for renewal. And Mazzulla seems to know that championship chemistry isn't found in playbooks. It's built in trust. Every laugh at a dinner table, every huddle after a turnover, every conversation after practice is shaping a team that understands each other on a level statistics can't measure. And then comes the question that nobody can answer yet. What happens when this culture of unity meets the talent already on the roster? When a rejuvenated Jaylen Brown and relentless Derek White blend their drive with the hunger of players like Garza, Minot, and Shireman. The NBA has seen talent before, but rarely this type of cohesion. What nobody expected was that a preseason of transition could turn into the foundation of something historic. Garza's words reveal more than just team spirit. They hint at a mentality shift across the organization. One where egos are replaced by purpose and where every new face is treated as essential to the mission. That's not just chemistry, that's culture at its purest form. So as Boston prepares for the season opener, one thing is becoming clear. The Celtics aren't just chasing wins, they're redefining what it means to be a team in the modern NBA. And if this unity carries onto the court, the rest of the league may not be ready for what's coming. This isn't just about basketball anymore, it's about belonging. And that might be the hidden weapon that brings banner number 18 home. If you believe in this new Celtics energy, hit the like button, subscribe, and click the hype button right now because this story is far from over, and what's coming next could change everything.